What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Another video means another dopamine high, because I had to buy something, feel something, and today we're back at it with another review. And for today's review, we are continuing the Halo Spartan Collection Wave 8 train. With today's video, we are taking a look at Halo 5 Master Chief. And at any point during or after the video, you do realize you want to pick up this figure for yourself. It's going to be the same situation we've seen with Wave 7 and currently Wave 8, where you have to go to your local GameStop and pick up this figure in person for $21.99, because there are no online options to purchase this figure except for eBay. And it seems like that Walmart and Target have just removed their Halo sections altogether. So while recording the intro of this video, of course something had to happen, and Halo 5 Chief has been added to the GameStop website. Why does everything happen while I work on the intro? Not the rest of Wave 8, not Wave 7, just Halo 5 Chief, for whatever reason. I mean, I'm not complaining, because that means this figure could finally be obtainable by the people who missed out from the scalpers who just ran to their local GameStops. But still, very weird and interesting, but it is what it is. And yeah, so I'll put a link in the description of the video so y'all can get this figure as soon as you can if you are interested in picking up this figure at all. But yeah, of course this had to happen while recording and making the video. But I am so glad that we are now past the halfway point for Wave 8 of the Spartan Collection. I am still looking for Douglas, though. I haven't found him in any GameStop, so it seems like I may or may not have to beg for mercy by the eBay gods to pick him up. Hopefully that's not the case and I get lucky, hopefully soon enough, though, because I don't like keeping y'all waiting when it comes to these videos. So wish me luck there. Can things not happen while I make the video? So I'm just going to interrupt myself real quickly and give y'all an update on the whole Douglas situation, because it seems like no one has a Douglas. I've checked Reddit, I've checked eBay, I've checked other channels who review Spartan Collection figures like myself. No one has a Douglas figure in their collection yet, at least as far as I'm concerned. It seems like his release has been delayed. I'm not going to speculate and say that his release has been canceled, like how we saw the cancellation of the Yokai figure in Wave 7, because unlike the Yokai figure, we've seen packaging for Douglas when Wave 8 was being leaked, and Douglas made an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con, unlike the Yokai where we saw no packaging, no appearance at San Diego Comic-Con, anything like that. So I'm just going to say that his release has been delayed. So whenever this figure comes out, hopefully we can all get our hands on a Douglas figure, especially those who are trying to finish Red Team like myself, and also so I can get a video out for y'all covering said figure, because obviously I love Halo, I love making Halo content, and I want to give y'all that content I love making. So with all that said, let's move on. So wish me luck there. But with all that said, I'm so happy that I finally have Halo 5 Chief. This is all of the in-game Chief design, so we have no idea what Jazwares is going to do from this point on with Master Chief. Maybe some of his other appearances from Halo Legends, Halo Forward Unto Dawn, even the Halo show. We don't know. Let's see what happens with Wave 9 and beyond. And with all that said, let's get into the review. Looking at the packaging first, it's our standard Spartan Collection packaging. It seems like everything is in there. We have our Chief looking schmexy and shit, and then we have our little photo on the side, and then on the back we have a nice larger photo that is in color, a brief description of everything that is included, and then we have the rest of Wave 8. Hopefully Jerome Douglas. It's Douglas. I'm not letting my father get another fucking inch of ground when it comes to me messing up while recording these videos. Will come out soon and I can get that review out for y'all. And with all that said, let's open up this bad boy and get the review rolling. So starting off with the head articulation, and you can technically rotate it 360 degrees, but don't, because you will damage your figure like I did. I kind of messed up the chin of his helmet, so you can get that spin if you want, but at the cost of kind of damaging the helmet, so please be careful with that. It's still a good range nonetheless. You can still have him look side to side a really good amount, and then of course you can have him look up and down a good amount as well. Really like seeing that there. And then of course we can't really get a head tilt out of this figure, but because he can look side to side and up and down a really good amount, you can still have him look around and express himself in a variety of ways. So overall, very happy with the head articulation. Just please be careful when rotating his head 360 degrees. And when it comes to the arm articulation for this figure, we can rotate his arms 360 degrees up and over, and then we can spin them 360 degrees here as well. So very nice to see that there. And then we can bring up his arm a really good amount, which means we can open up his arms a really good amount, which is really nice to see on this figure. And then when it comes to to the tricep bicep area, we can rotate that independently from the shoulder 360 degrees without friction bringing the shoulder joint with us, which we usually see on most figures, but that is not the case here. And when it comes to the elbow bend, we get a really nice elbow bend. We can get a near shoulder tap and it goes above that 90-degree mark, which I like seeing, and we've been seeing that with Wave 8. And then when it comes to the hands, we can rotate 360 degrees and bend the wrist however we please. So very nice to see that there, and overall very happy with the arm articulation on this figure. Then next up is the torso articulation, or the lack of there being, I should say, and it's like with every other Spartan Collection figure we've looked at, it's shitty torso articulation. You can't really get any range whatsoever, and it really sucks to see. And I really hope with Wave 9 the next thing they improve upon is the torso articulation, because that would be awesome to see. And then when it comes to the legs, of course we can rotate the legs 360 degrees, which is always nice to see on these figures. And then of course we can open up his legs a decent amount. By no means it's a split, but it's still a good range, so you can have him in a bunch of action poses and whatnot. And then of course we can bring up his legs a really good amount, so you can have him sit off the ledge of a cliff or in a chair or anything like that. And then of course when it comes to the knees, it isn't good. Surprise, they actually reused Halo 4 Chiefs knees, which were part of the garbage knee waves. And yeah, no, I don't know why they did that. I get it's cheaper to just reuse a figure's old assets when the molds are practically the same, but still, why? And then when it comes to the feet, we can rotate those 360 degrees and bend the ankle however we please. And of course we can move the toes up and down a little bit. But yeah, no, overall, with everything else except for the knees, the range is good. I love the articulation, but for the knees, I get it. It's cheaper just to reuse Halo 4 Chiefs knees, but why? But you're doing so good. Wave 7 and Wave 8 was a breath of fresh air, seeing the great knee articulation and taking a step in the right direction. But come on, Jazwares, just why? You were doing so good. So overall, I'm happy with the majority of the articulation on this figure. Head articulation is great. Arm articulation is great. The torso sucks, but we're used to seeing that, and hopefully with Wave 9 they do fix that. And then when it comes to the legs, that's the biggest blow to the heart. The majority of the leg articulation is great, but it's those knees. I get it that Jazwares kind of just re-released Halo 4 Chief and gave him the updated Halo 5 look, but they could have at least given us the great knee articulation that we're so used to seeing with the beginning of Wave 7 and Wave 8. Now normalizing that, so it just kind of breaks my heart seeing Jazwares, you know, be a little lazy here and just re-release Halo 4 Chief and not update them and give us the quality that we are now seeing with the rest of the figures. And starting off, we have our swappable hands. We have 7 in total. We have 2 holding hands, 2 trigger finger hands, 2 open hands, and 1 tactical call hand for all your accessory and posing needs. And for our first weapon included, we do have the bolt shot. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen the bolt shot in the Spartan Collection. The first time was with the Spartan Venator, and there are some differences between this bolt shot and the one that came out originally. It seems that Jazwares has touched up the paint job and really given it some more character, which I really like to see. And besides an updated paint job, there is also a little bit of orange on this end of the gun. It really adds a little bit of Promethean likeness to it, and again, I enjoy the sculpt work, all the little divots and, you know, layers that we see on the bolt shot in game. You know, a very busy design, and I think Jazwares translated it to the toy perfectly. So without a doubt in my mind, I think Jazwares made this bolt shot really well, and I'm very happy with the accessory. And then for our second weapon included, we do have the binary rifle, and unfortunately it is the Halo 5 binary rifle. Never forget what they took away from us. But gameplay mechanics aside, I'm actually really happy that the binary rifle has now entered the Spartan Collection, because you know how I feel about more weapons in the Spartan Collection, or just in general. More weapons means more fun, more ways to display and pose yo figures, and I think Jazwares did such a phenomenal job at introducing the binary rifle into the Spartan Collection. It looks great, all the different lines and layers and curves, and just Promethean weapons have such a busy design, and I think they executed that perfectly. I love the hints of orange spread out the entire gun, really catering to that Promethean likeness. And again, I think Jazwares did such a great job at, you know, giving us this weapon. And then of course, if you want to display your weapon on your Spartan, you can just remove the little piece of plastic on the thigh, turn it around, put the peg in the peg hole of whatever weapon you want on their thigh. In our case, it is the bolt shot here. So once that's plugged in, you just put it back on the thigh, and there you go. And if you want to remove the weapon and plug it back in, you just simply do what I just told you to do, but backwards. And then when it comes to displaying the weapon on the back, it's the same principle as with the weapons on the thigh. You take the piece of plastic out, you turn it around, you plug the peg into the peg hole of the weapon, and then you plug it into their back, and the weapon should stay there all nice and snug, just like that. And again, if you want to undo what you just did, you do what I just told you to do, but backwards. And to kick off the visual presentation segment of the video, I want to compare and contrast this figure with the Halo Forge figure, because even though they look almost identical, there are some differences between the two, and I just, want to do this for strictly educational purposes for people who don't want to buy two figures that look almost exactly the same, so they can pick and choose between the two, and also because I'm a nerd and I like doing this stuff. Starting off with the sculpt work between these two, and the only difference is their chest pieces. Halo 4 Chief still keeps the battle damage that we saw in Halo 3, but in 5 Chief got that fixed, and we see that on the Halo 5 figure, and that is the only difference between these two sculpts. After that, the sculpt for everything else is exactly the same, one for one. So moving over to comparing and contrasting the paintwork between these two figures, starting off with the shades of green. They did change the shade of green for Halo 5 Chief. It's much lighter and kind of flat. I much prefer the darker shade that they chose for 4 Chief, but that's just personal preference at the end of the day. But that is one difference between these figures. And then because Halo 5 Chief's armor has been repaired and repainted, it looks a lot cleaner, a lot flatter, kind of, in my opinion. And then Halo 4 Chief, his armor is a lot grittier. There's a lot more scratches and wear tear going on through the entire figure, and those are probably the most in-your-face differences between these two figures, because they quite literally affected the base appearance of Chief. And then getting into the more specific differences between the two figures, starting off in the head region, we can see on the front of the helmet that the chin areas are two different colors. On Halo 4 Chief, it is the same shade of green as the rest of his armor. We're looking at Halo 5 Chief, it's a dark gray, which I really like. It adds some depth to the helmet's appearance. Then moving things over to the side, we can see that on the top of the helmet, the dark green that we see on Halo 4 Chief has been replaced with, again, light gray, which again I like, adds some depth and more color to Chief's palette. And then moving to the back of the helmets, we can see that the AI port for Halo 4 Chief just has some light gray there, and then on the Halo 5 Chief figure, they completely fill in that area with some dark gray, which I really like the appearance of more. So looking at the torso area of the figures, we can see already immediate differences. Starting on Halo 5 Chief, we have some red arrows that point downwards in the shoulder area, and we're going to see this throughout his entire armor set. This is just the beginning of that. Then around the collar area, there's this piece of armor that on Halo 4 Chief is dark green and dark gray, whereas on Halo 5 Chief they made it dark brown. And then moving towards the chest area of the torso, there's these square plates on his armor that are dark gray on Halo 4 Chief, where on Halo 5 Chief they're that same shade of dark brown we saw earlier. Then moving to the lower half of the torso, looking at the undersuit, we can see on Halo 4 Chief it is all the same color, where for Halo 5 Chief the midsection of the undersuit is olive green. And then looking at the waist armor, we can see on Halo 4 Chief there's just a dark gray line on the upper part of it, and then looking at Halo 5 Chief, we see that that upper part is now dark brown, and then the padding in the dead center is dark brown as well, and then the bottom of the waist armor is dark gray. And then moving things over to the back, we can see all the dark gray bits on Halo 4 Chief have been made dark brown on Halo 5 Chief. The red arrows are making another return. The spinal piece on Halo 4 Chief that was left black has actually been painted in this time, which is nice to see. And then the ports on Halo 4 Chief that are light gray, Jazwares actually left and didn't paint, which is weird progression seeing that they did fill in the spinal part. So there's this weird bipolar of, oh, we painted this but not that on the back of Chief. So moving over to the arms, starting with the shoulder plating, and we can see on all the dark green on Halo 4 Chief has now been made dark gray on Halo 5 Chief, and we can see those red arrows making another return. Then going down to the forearm, again all the dark green we see on Halo 4 Chief has now been made dark gray on Halo 5 Chief. Then looking at the other side of the forearm, we can see that again the dark green on Halo 4 Chief has been made dark gray on Halo 5 Chief. We're seeing more red arrows, and the port on the forearm for Halo 4 Chief that was light gray has now been removed altogether. Then finally taking a look at the legs, and we can see that all the dark green green on Halo 4 Chief has now been dark gray on Halo 5 Chief. We had the return of some more red arrows, and then there has been some dark brown, dark gray added to Halo 5 Chief to really add some depth to the appearance of his armor. And then turning the legs around, we see the arrows make another return on the calves, and then all the light gray and dark green areas on Halo 4 Chief have now been made that dark brown that we're starting to see on Halo 5 Chief. So those are all the differences between these two figures, and at the end of the day, I have to say I enjoy the Halo 4 Chief a lot better. I just enjoy that shade of green and the grit that we see throughout his entire figure. I just love it. I will say I really enjoy the dark grays and dark browns that we see throughout Halo 5 Chief. It really adds some depth to his armor. So maybe if they just made Halo 5 Chief the shade of green that Halo 4 Chief is, and just kept the grit that we see with Halo 4 Chief, I think the design for Halo 5 Chief would have been supreme. But alas, they had to make him look all nice and clean, which in the end kind of made him look flat and kind of just meh in my opinion. So at the end of the day, I gotta say Halo 4 Chief looks way better than Halo 5 Chief. If you consider that a hot take, I don't know if you would, but that is just my take on these two figures. So with that now out of the way, I can give you my general thoughts on the visual presentation of Halo 5 Chief and solely Halo 5 Chief. And to start off with the paint job, because that's the biggest issue I have with this figure. Not that it necessarily ruins the figure, because overall, objectively speaking, I think that this is a fine figure. It's just, in my opinion, the green is a little too flat. It's a little too clean, in my opinion. I do enjoy the darker, the much more grittier green that we saw in Halo 4 Chief. Hence why I do enjoy looking at that figure more. But things I do like about the paint job or visual presentation of this figure are the smaller details, like the red arrows, the dark brown, and the dark grays that we see throughout. And I just feel like it adds some depth to the armor of Chief. It allows for the smaller, finer details to really pop out, rather than it all being the same color and kind of just blend and mesh together. So I do enjoy that aspect of the paint job. It's just the green that kills me. It's a little too flat in my opinion, like I said. And then when it comes to the sculpt work of this figure, I think it's great. Jazwares always does a great job at getting down the sculpt of these figures. I love the Halo 4 sculpt, so obviously I'm going to love the sculpt of this figure as well. So yeah, overall, I think that there's a lot to like about the visual presentation of this figure. It's just the base coat of the green, the shade of green I should say, that they chose for this figure is what's killing me here. But I don't know, and this isn't just an issue with the figures, this is also something I have an issue with the in-game models for Master Chief. I love the in-game model for Halo 4 Chief, but Halo 5 Chief's model, again, feels flat, feels a little too clean. I wish there was a little more grit to it. So yeah, I don't know if this is just me, you know, being a huge nerd or whatever, but I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the visual presentation of this figure if you already have this figure? So putting this bad boy into scale with some size comparisons, starting off with Jazwares The World of Halo, Halo 5 Master Chief. Then we have NECA's Aliens Xenomorph Warrior, NECA's Predator 2 Elder Predator aka Greyback, Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper, and finally we have McFarlane's The Doomslayer. And here we are at the turntable segment of the video. This is pretty much where I go over what I like, dislike, pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, give my general thoughts and opinions, and give you all something to bounce off of. Go down in the comment section below and get a conversation started. And I'll most likely reply to y'all's comments because obviously I like talking about this stuff. And I usually kick the segment off by talking about the things that irk me about the said figure. And there's only two things that come to mind when it comes to Halo 5 Chief, and one is more subjective, so I'll save that for last. So the first thing that bothers me is the knee bend. It turns out that Jazwares just reused the Halo 4 Chief figure. When making this, of course, they touched up the chest piece and the paint job to, you know, make it look like Halo 5 Chief, but when it came to all the joints, they just used the ones that we saw with Halo 4 Chief. And Halo 4 Chief came out during a time where the knee articulation was really bad, so the knee articulation on Halo 5 Chief is really bad, which breaks my heart because Wave 7 was the revival wave. They fixed the knee articulation in that wave, and with the first two figures I've already reviewed in Wave 8, their knee articulation is amazing. And then here we have Jazwares dropping the ball, and especially on a Chief figure, I get it, it's cheaper probably just reusing old parts when the mold is pretty much the same, but like, y'all were doing really good, and now you're breaking my heart, Jazwares. Come on, what happened, man? And then the second thing that irks me about this figure, which is more subjective, and I did talk about this in the visual presentation segment of the video, so I'm going to keep it brief here, but I feel like the green on Chief is a little flat in my opinion. It's a little too clean, like it's just feels like there's something missing. I really enjoyed the darker green we saw in Halo 4 Chief, and I enjoyed the grit and all the wear and tear that we saw throughout his armor, and I just feel like that's missing here on Halo 5 Chief. I get it that he had a new fresh coat of paint and they repaired his armor, but again, it's just too flat in my opinion, and I don't know if that's just me being a big nerd, because I did notice this with the in-game models of 4 and 5 Chief as well. This isn't just me comparing the two figures, but the overall appearance as well. So again, I don't know if this is just me being a nerd, but that's just my take on the whole shade of green they chose for Halo 5 Chief. So getting into the positives and the things I do enjoy about this figure, starting off with the things I enjoy visually. Yes, I'm not a big fan on the green. I feel like it's a little flat, but the smaller details that are in the different shades of light and dark gray, dark brown, and the red arrows, I feel like those little details there really added and bring some depth to the design of this figure and really do combat the flatness to an extent. So I do enjoy those details. It really adds, like I said, depth, and allows for those smaller details that we see sculpted into the armor to pop out. So I do enjoy that. And then accessories wise, we've already seen the bolt shot, but I really enjoy how they improved upon it, because for a fact Jazwares did improve the color variation. It's very much more in your face, and I really feel like that adds depth to the design of the weapon, so I like that. And then the binary rifle is a new weapon that we can throw into the portfolio of the Spartan Collection, and you already know how I feel about more weapons. More weapons mean more fun, more photos, more ways to display your figures, so there's that. But I also enjoy how they executed it. Like I said, Promethean weapons are very busy. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of parts, and I feel like Jazwares executed it perfectly. So I'm happy to see a new weapon that looks really great added to the portfolio of the Spartan Collection. And then this would be the part where I praise the overall feel of the figure despite the torso sucking, but it's not just the torso that is sucking this time, because Jazwares reused old assets. The knees on this figure also suck as well. So the head and arm portions of the figure are great, but unfortunately the leg is not great, at least not the whole leg. Don't get me wrong, the foot articulation is great and the thigh area is fine. It's just the knee that is killing me, which, you know, kind of puts a dent in the whole leg region of the figure. So it sucks to see that. It is what it is. Hopefully that it's just them reusing the assets of an old figure, and that this isn't them, you know, reverting to their old ways, because I was really enjoying the knee articulation that we saw introduced in Wave 7. So to briefly summarize my overall thoughts and opinions on the figure, when it comes to the visuals, I'm not the biggest fan of the shade of green. It feels a little flat in my opinion. I really enjoyed the darker shade of green we saw with Halo 4 Chief and overall his grittier appearance. I do enjoy the smaller details, like the different shades of light and dark gray and dark brown and the red arrows. I feel like it added some depth to his armor and allowed for those smaller details that are sculpted onto the figure to really pop out. When it comes to the articulation, the head and arm region are solid. The torso still sucks as ever, and I'm disappointed that they reused shitty knees from a previous wave when knee articulation was really bad, especially because Wave 7 was the revival wave of knee articulation, and they were doing so good with, you know, Wave 8, and then here's this one bump in the road. Hopefully it's just with this figure and not with Douglas whenever he comes out, or any of the other waves that we will see in the future. And then when it came to the accessories, I thought it was a solid selection. The bolt shot looked great. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. And I can say the same about the new addition to the Spartan Collection, which was the binary rifle. Again, more weapons means more fun, and I feel like they executed this weapon perfectly, and I have no complaints about the accessories whatsoever. So overall, that's how I feel about this figure. So if you have this figure already, please tell me down below, do you like or dislike this figure, and what do you like or dislike about said figure? And with all that said, let's move on to the outro. So if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be phenomenal. If you want to comment, you can. If you don't want to, I get it. It's a lot of effort, but if you do want to bounce off anything I did say during the video, you're more than welcome to, and I'll most likely reply to y'all's comments, because obviously I love talking about this stuff. And don't worry about the bell. We both know that shit is broken. And if you want to see more content like this, there's plenty of it up on the channel. I've reviewed 2 figures already a part of Wave 8, and I've done all of Wave 7. And then I also do Star Wars and NECA stuff as well. When it comes to the NECA stuff, it's predominantly Alien and Predator stuff. So if any of that does interest you, you're more welcome to go check that out. And with all that being said, have a great day, and please stay hydrated. It's important.